everybody, it's Rachel here. Today we're going through a 15-minute core sequence. You don't need anything but yourself and preferably a mat or a soft surface to move on. But 15 minutes total. Feel free to up the intensity where you feel like it works for your body, and feel free to modify anything to make it feel more comfortable for you. We're going to start in a tabletop position today. Shoulders over top of wrists, hips in line with knees. Try to move through a cat-cow in your own time. And during these next few moments of our warm-up, it's going to be a quick warm-up and cool down because we only have 15 minutes together. I do want you though to just check in with your body. Maybe just let your brain focus in on you and this mat and what your body's about to do for the next 15 minutes. Trying to avoid any distractions here because I know that's easier said than done. It's always good to have that little intention and focus at the beginning of your session though. Let's come back to neutral and then take your right arm, make a few big arm circles front and back here. And then let's switch arms, other side. Good. A little bit of shoulder work involved in class today as well, so it's important to open them up. Let's go side to side, so reach up and loop through. Good. Let's do one more here. I'm already feeling a little stiff, so maybe you are too. Good, come back to center, switch. Big reach up and loop. Good, inhale and exhale, last one. And then release, coming back to neutral. I just want you to take a few breaths here. Eyes just above where the hands are, take an inhale. And an exhale, engage the core. So think about inhaling, expanding and letting the belly relax in the core muscles, and then exhale, trying to contract the core muscles a little bit more. We want to do this without feeling like we're dumping the low back and like really sucking in our core. So just finding that kind of comfortable position in between. Good. One more like that because we are going to need to be working these muscles in all positions. And I want you to just step back to a plank position and then step 1 foot forward, little rotation to the side, come back down, switch. Good, step, rotate, come back down, one more each way. Good, last one. And then hold the plank. From here, shifting back to a downward dog, and then shift forward to a plank. If you're more comfortable in a child's pose position to a plank on the knees, you're welcome to take it there too. Good, wherever you are, you're gonna do one more. We will all finish in the plank. Hold for one more moment, take an inhale, exhale, release child's pose. Roll the wrists out, maybe walk your hands a little bit further forward, and then walk them to the right, take a breath here. And then we'll switch to the left. And then come back to the center and roll yourself up. Roll those wrists out. We're going to start in a tabletop position again. So I really challenge you to focus on the low core. I always imagine it's like I'm pulling up a tight pair of pants. I'm just getting that little core activation inside and down from my hip bones. So shoulders over top of wrists, hips in line with knees. Slide your right leg back. From here, making sure hip and knees stay in line. We're going to lift and lower the back leg. The goal is to keep the spine nice and long, so we want to avoid that dipping of the low back. The height of the foot is really about as high as the hips, no higher. I want you to think about anchoring through the opposite hand and knee for support, and make sure the hip and knee that are moving stay in line, they're not shifting sideways. If that works, you're going to lift your opposite arm up and down. Instead of switching, we're just going to stay right here today. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Good, lift and lower. Keep this going. So oftentimes this is one of those perfect examples of a workout and an exercise where somebody's like, you know what, this one's pretty easy, I'm not really gonna think about it. But if you think about the activation of the low core, the stabilization through the opposite hand and foot, the actual lengthening rather than lifting of the body, you should really feel a lot of sensation going on, upper and lower end core. If I was at home with you and I gave you a little touch here, maybe you would feel, or I would feel like there's a little bit of tension there in the body as well. Good, next one, hold it out, little pulses up. And if at any point you need to just do the leg or just do the arm, you know you can do that. Watching the neck, nice long line. 5, 4, 3, 2, hold, take an inhale, lengthen, exhale, release. Let's switch sides. So take a moment, just slide up the leg. Make sure that's like the hip is hovering in space, so we're not shifting. And then when you're ready, lift and lower. Noticing if the core is still connected through the front, that the hip and knee that are not moving or stacked rather than shifting. Low back feels and looks good. And then option to always add that arm, lift and lower. Now you want to watch, because sometimes I do it too, we hyperextend that elbow. Just be mindful of that. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Creating length front and back. It's not actually how high the leg goes, because sometimes when we go high, we start to dip and arch through the low back. So think about you pulling your fingers and toes front and back as far as you can go. Good work. Let's do 2 more here. Good, staying stable through the opposite points. Last one, hold little pulses. Up, up, good. 5, yes. 4, 3, 2, hold. Take an inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release. Awesome, let's just roll up the wrists. We're coming onto the stomach for some prone work, which just means we're laying on the stomach. We're gonna challenge and focus in on the upper and mid back. So we're gonna kind of segment this one. It seems a little bit basic for some of us, but I promise you a lot of people will be like, whoa, I actually feel in the right spot. So that's what we're looking for. Soft bend in the elbows, nod the chin. Imagine that there's something sharp underneath your belly button, so you're just pulling up the core, and then keep those hips grounded and heavy into the floor. I want you to retract the shoulder blades, which all it means is because mine naturally are here, I'm gonna pull the shoulders back, and then from here, I'm gonna hover. Hands, elbows, upper body, chest, everything up. And then I'm gonna lower back down and let the shoulders come down again. So draw the shoulders back, a little bit of upper back activation right away in between the shoulder blades. Lift, lower, release. Try one more like that. And if that feels good and you're like, okay, that makes sense, feel free to stay there. If you want a little bit more, palms go back. Keep the shoulder blades retracted and pulled back the whole time this time. And you're just gonna lift and lower. Good, inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Keep it up. Lift and lower. 3 more here. I'm not here too long today because it's only 15 minutes. We got some other exciting things coming. The last one, hold the top for you. Hold for 3. Strong through the front of the body. 2, 1, and release. Awesome. Give yourself a child's pose. Little stretch. Coming up to a kneeling position next. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me. Shoulders, ribs, hips, and knees in line. I want you to think about activating the glutes. Imagine you're doing a little curl, so it's like there's 2 parallel lines here connected rather than separate. Hands on top of the head. From here, you're going to inhale over to one side. Exhale, come back up, switch. Inhale over to the other, exhale back up, switch. Trying to keep both knees down, making a big arc up and over, feeling the top side. Let's do one more like that, and then release, okay? If it's comfortable, first of all, if you're not comfortable kneeling, stand up, that's totally fine. If this position feels better, great. If you want a little bit of something different, slide your leg out to the side, right leg. Hands behind the head, other arm out. We're gonna inhale over to the side, and then exhale, pull yourself back up, repeat. So again, we're making that big arc up and over. We're connecting through the top side like there's a string pulling us up, and repeat. I always imagine it's like I'm sliding between 2 pieces of glass, so I cannot go forward and back, only side to side. It's gonna start to feel obvious that we're feeling here. If you're more comfortable with your hands on top of the head, that's fine. For those that want a little bit more, arms straight, keep them as straight as possible. Don't let them go without the rest of the body, and then pull yourself back up. Always checking if the ribs are connected down rather than popping, that we've got that straight line stacking from head all the way down to the knee. I want you to also notice that maybe those low core muscles are connecting as you come back up. We're not just relying on the top side. Inhale over, exhale back up. Good, keep this going. Inhale over, exhale back up. Let's go 2 more. Again, wherever you want your hands, last one, you hold it up. Hold it out here, chest proud for 3. Keep holding, 2, 1, and then come back up. Awesome. Shake it out, switch sides so you can stand, stay kneeling just like this and do all those options, or slide the leg out. I know sometimes it cramps the side of the hip and glute. It's not super comfortable. That's okay. But when you're ready, inhale over, exhale back up. Maybe 2 hands on top of the head or behind. Good. Or arms up. Shoulders relaxed, ribs down. Inhale over, exhale back up. Now you may start to find that one side is actually more challenging than the other. Pretty normal that we are not symmetrical from side to side, but it makes it that much more obvious when we're doing single-sided work. Good. Checking in. Are you pulling up from the top side? Can the front of the core connect? That's usually the hardest thing to start to manipulate and add in every single other movement. So just getting some practice with that here as well. Good. Keep this going. Let's go 2 more. Inhale over. Exhale back up. 1 more wherever you're at. Hold it there. Good. Hold 3, 2, 1, and rest. Slowly come up. Coming to a plank position, shoulders over top of wrists, stepping the feet back wide, option to be on the knees. We're gonna do a little plank walk. You're gonna walk down, down, press up, switch. Down, down, up. Noticing my hips go with me. If I need the knees, that's fine. and up. Watching that the hips don't get forgotten, up above. If your wrists are sensitive, I challenge you to just come to the forearms instead, pressing the forearms in, feeling that upper back connection, and you can do a simple toe tap or just hold that plank. Nice long line of the body. This is like a little sneaky push-up in there as well for those of us that are doing it. So let's try to activate the pecs by really pressing the heel of the hand into the floor. Good, keep this up. Awesome. We're gonna be here for another 10 seconds, so whichever version works best for you, you keep it up. Good. Finish off whichever one you want or need to do to be even, and then hold your plank. Hands or forearms, you need to bring the feet in if you need to. Hold here. Lengthen for 3, 2, 1. Release, child's pose. Awesome. Roll those wrists out. Slowly roll yourself up. Let's turn over into a seated position. Sitting up tall, I'm going to really check in on those low core muscles again. So pull the shoulders back. Take an inhale, expand. Exhale, draw the core in, sit back. Pause. Hands come to the chest. Exhale, twist to the side. Inhale, center, switch. Exhale, twist to the side. Inhale, center, switch. Think about leading with your shoulder. The hips stay heavy, so we're actually only moving from the upper half. If you want to try with your arms out, keep them straight. The seam of the hands should stay in the middle of the chest. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Some people may like to add one leg. If you lift one leg or two, just remember that they don't go the other way. The lower half stays nice and heavy. I always imagine it's like I'm wringing out a rag, getting that twist across the body. Good work, everybody. Chest proud. I always think there's a string on my chest. I'm letting you go. It also helps if you look up. If we're looking straighter forward, we might be rounding through the back. Good. Keep this going. Exhale, twist. Are you connecting those low core muscles like we've been thinking about in all the other positions? Hopefully, yes. Good. Give it a try. Let's do 4 more. 4, or maybe 3 or 5, wherever you're at. Good. 1 more each way. Make sure you're even. Hold the middle and pause. Take an inhale. Exhale, release, fold forward. Good work. Okay. Last bit of work ends up being on the back. From here, I want to make sure we have a neutral spine, which just means we have a natural curve in the low back wherever you naturally land. We're not forcing it flat. We're not overarching. Then I want you to lift your left leg up to tabletop and press the hand in, getting a little bit of tension. It's like the ribs and hips are connecting. Think about upper back heavy. Then take your right leg, lift it up, glue them together. Right arm out to the side. You're going to continuously press with the left, and you're going to go over to the right. Left shoulder and hip will come off. Maybe you're going to look as well. Keep pressing, 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 and then pause when you feel like you're about to fall over, because we don't want to lose control, and then draw the core muscles back in as we come back to center, return. Repeat again. So we're going to inhale over as far as we feel like we're in control. Try not to press too hard with this arm to come up. And then using your obliques, those side core muscles, exhale, pull yourself back up to center. If it's more comfortable to let the feet dangle, that's totally fine, or cross the ankles. Good, but maybe getting a little bit of inner thigh sensation because the legs are glued together. Exhale, pull back up. Keep this going. Good, inhale over. So keep this going. It's actually the opposite of what you just did seated. Instead of twisting the upper half, we're trying to move more from the lower half. Let's do 1 more on this side. Good. Maybe some of us can go all the way over. I challenge you to always move from the inside out. So you're moving from the pelvis rather than just letting the knees pull you back. Good. Take a breather. Hug the knees in the chest. 1 last time on the second side. Good news is there's only 2 sides, right? Good. Ribs and hips connect. Upper back heavy. Press in. Extend the arm. Going over as far or as not so far as you need to. Good. And when you're ready, pull yourself back to center. Keep this going. You might start to notice that one side feels different than the other. Maybe one side you can go further. That's okay. The name of this game is slow and steady. We always want quality movement over quantity. If you maybe just do a few and you kind of need to feel it out, sometimes I like to put my fingertips here so I can feel. I'm very good with connecting my mind and body when I can actually touch it. Let's just kind of take that in. Let's do 2 more. Good. And remember, inside out motion. Use the breath to come back up. Last one here. And then release, hug the knees in the chest. Okay, we have 1 last exercise, and I know that we're going to be actually over 15 minutes, but that's okay. We're going to come here. I really want to do this one today, so let's just keep it going. So, neutral means we're not pressing flat, we're also not overarching. Now I want you to imagine your thumbs are on your ribs and your pinkies are on your hips, and you're trying to bring those muscles closer together by actually now pressing your back flat. So we call this a pelvic tilt. So instead of doing the extra part the other way, we're just gonna do the part where your low back presses. When you do that, it actually is sometimes easier to connect and think about those muscles. Okay, so let's think of that motion. Lift the legs up, the knees don't even have to be high, neutral. Now you're going to curl back. I'm actually getting a little bit of connection already. You're gonna try to float your knees off, up, and down. So now, this is not a traditional reverse crunch where we are like flailing all over the place. It's slow and controlled. We're trying to keep the shoulders anchored into the floor and the head, so we're pressing through the backs of the arms. So neutral, press the back flat, and then just hover the bum off, knees up, and lower down. Obviously, this is hard for me to do as well, and it's hard for me to talk and do it at the same time, but we're trying to think of that little connection. Notice how my hips come off like barely. You might even have to zoom in to see it, but I'm just trying to get that little activation and probably not pop my shoulders off as much either. But thinking about that pelvic tilt, press and lift. Good, I will let you do 2 or 3 more so I can talk you through this. But we're trying to think of that pelvic tilt and getting the motion so it's like the knees are going up to the ceiling on little strings rather than back behind you. Try 1 more, and then you can release, hug the knees in the chest. I'm already over our 15 minutes. We're gonna do a very short release. Good, plant the feet flat out as wide as the mat. Let those knees go side to side. Little breather here. And then hug your right knee into the chest, send your left leg long, and just cross the body. I want you to just check in how you are feeling now. Hopefully better than when you first started. That's always my goal. Let's come back into center switch. Maybe all you needed today was 15 minutes to get your body moving. Maybe it was 15 minutes of core work that you're like, you know what I need to focus in on. Whatever it is that you were looking for today, hopefully you found it. Let's plant the feet flat, reach the right arm up, turn to the side, and then gently press yourself up to a seated position. Sitting up nice and tall, we'll finish here with some little circles. Just moving through the spine. Maybe noticing you're feeling a little bit lighter. I usually find with this type of workout and movement session, I find like I'm a little bit more body aware after. Let's reverse the other direction. I feel a little bit more aware of which muscles are working to even do everyday things. I feel a little longer, sometimes a little lighter too. I don't even notice how heavy and with tension I am beforehand. Good, let's sit up nice and tall, roll the shoulders back and down, just close your eyes. Thank yourselves for making a few moments for yourself to move today. Let's take one last big breath in together and exhale, release. Thank you so much for moving with me.